few years ago, the United States tried to buy this island. People laughed. But they're not laughing anymore. Because while the world was distracted, China started making moves. And now, Greenland has become the center of a silent power struggle.
And it's just getting started.
Greenland doesn't look important. It's mostly ice, harsh weather, almost no people. But on the map, it sits in a position most countries would fight for, right between North America and Europe, right at the edge of the Arctic. And that changes everything. Because for decades, the Arctic was useless, too cold, too dangerous, completely blocked by ice. Ships avoided it, countries ignored it. But now, that ice is disappearing, and suddenly, a new set of routes is opening up, routes that could completely reshape global trade. Instead of going the long way around through crowded, controlled choke points, ships can cut straight through the Arctic. Faster routes, cheaper transport, less dependence on traditional paths the world has relied on for years. And here's where Greenland comes in. Whoever has influence over Greenland sits right next to these new Arctic highways. They can watch who passes through, they can project power into the region, and if things escalate, they can control access. That's not just trade advantage, that's strategic dominance. Because this isn't just about cargo ships, it's about military positioning too. From Greenland, you're closer to both North America and Europe than almost anywhere else in the Arctic, which means early warning systems, missile detection, surveillance, the kind of control that matters long before any conflict even begins. This is why the United States has kept a military presence here for decades, and it's why China, despite being far away, is suddenly very interested in getting closer. Because in the Arctic, distance doesn't matter as much as position, and Greenland is in the perfect position. So what looks like an empty frozen island is actually one of the most strategically placed pieces of land on Earth. And this is just the beginning, because location alone isn't why the world is paying attention now, it's what's hidden underneath it. If Greenland was only about location, this wouldn't feel this intense. But beneath all that ice, there's something far more valuable. Resources. And not just any resources, the kind the modern world is running out of. Rare earth minerals. These are the invisible backbone of everything around you. Your phone, electric cars, wind turbines, military technology. Almost all of it depends on materials most countries don't have enough of. And right now, one country controls most of the global supply. China. For years, China has dominated rare earth production, mining it, processing it, and supplying it to the rest of the world. Which means, if supply is ever restricted, entire industries slow down, or stop. That's the kind of leverage countries worry about. Now imagine this, a massive, largely untouched land filled with those same critical minerals. That's Greenland. Estimates suggest billions, possibly trillions of dollars worth of untapped resources buried under the ice. Rare earths, uranium, oil, natural gas, all locked away, waiting. But here's the catch. For a long time, none of it mattered, because the ice made extraction nearly impossible. Too expensive, too risky. But now, the conditions are changing. Ice is melting. Technology is improving. Access is becoming easier. And suddenly, what was once unreachable is now within reach. This is where the real tension begins, because the United States doesn't want to depend on China for critical minerals, and China doesn't want to lose its dominance. So when Greenland opens up, it's not just an opportunity, it's a race. A race to secure supply, a race to control extraction, a race to decide who benefits from what's under the ice. And unlike trade routes, this isn't something you can just pass through. This is ownership, influence, access, long-term control, which means every investment, every deal, every partnership in Greenland suddenly matters a lot more than it seems. Because whoever gets there first doesn't just gain resources, they gain power over the future. And this is exactly why the moves being made right now are anything but random. No one is calling this a conflict. There are no headlines about a showdown, no troops lining up, no official declarations. But make no mistake, a quiet battle is already underway, and both sides are playing very different games. On one side, China moves in quietly. No noise, no pressure, just investments, mining projects, infrastructure proposals, partnerships that look purely economic on the surface. It's a long-term strategy. Get involved early. Build relationships, secure access before anyone else reacts, because once you're inside the system, it's hard to be pushed out. China doesn't need to control Greenland directly, it just needs influence. Now on the other side, the United States takes a very different approach, more direct, more visible. For decades, the US has maintained a military presence on the island, monitoring the Arctic, tracking potential threats, watching everything that moves across that region. Because from Greenland, you don't just see the Arctic, you see everything coming through it. And then there was the moment that made the world pause, when Donald Trump openly suggested buying Greenland. At the time, it sounded absurd, almost like a joke, but it revealed something important, just how valuable this island really is. Because countries don't try to buy land like that unless it matters a lot. And behind the scenes, the real goal hasn't changed. The US wants to keep strategic control in the Arctic, and more importantly, it wants to keep China out. So what you have now isn't a direct confrontation. It's something quieter. China trying to get in, the US trying to block it. Deals being made, projects being approved or shut down, influence being built or challenged, all without turning it into an open conflict. Because the moment it becomes obvious, it becomes dangerous. So instead, it stays silent. But that silence, that's where the real competition is happening, and it's only getting more intense.
So far, we've seen location, resources, and a silent battle. But now, the question becomes, who actually wins? Because Greenland isn't frozen in time. The ice is melting faster than anyone expected. Routes are opening, resources are becoming accessible, and both China and the United States know it. This isn't just a story about trade or minerals. It's about influence over the future of global power. Control Greenland, and you can. Watch the new Arctic shipping lanes. Influence who gets critical resources first. Project military power far beyond your borders. Think about it. A place that once seemed irrelevant now decides who moves goods, who controls energy, and who can act first if tensions rise. And this race isn't slowing down. Every new mining permit, every diplomatic visit, every investment deal, it all adds up. Because whoever dominates Greenland today shapes the Arctic tomorrow. China wants access and influence. The US wants control and to block China. And in the middle of it all, Greenland itself becomes the stage for the next global power play. The chilling truth is simple. Greenland is more than ice. It's more than rocks and minerals. It's the silent battleground that could shift the balance of the world. And the moves being made now will echo for decades. Because in this race, there may be no winners, only the powerful and those left behind.